corresponds to the internal origin. So in a CAD file, the origin refers to 0, 0, 0 of the world coordinate system. Okay, so that's your auto origin to origin or auto internal origin to origin. Now, when you say auto center to center, so you select this option to place the center of the incoming geometry or our architectural model at the center of the host Revit model. Okay, so for both the incoming geometry and the host model, the geometric center is calculated by finding the center of a bounding box around the geometry. Okay, so that's your auto center to center. So how about the shared coordinates? This one by shared coordinates. So you select this option to place the incoming geometry in the host Revit model based on shared coordinates. So if the incoming geometry is a Revit link and it does not share a coordinate system with the host model, the link uses the default center to center positioning. Okay, so if you are linking a drawing file, you can use this positioning option, the shared by coordinates option, to establish shared coordinates with the Revit model. Okay, if the incoming geometry is a CAD file and it does not share a coordinate system with the host model, the incoming geometry is placed by aligning its origin with the shared coordinates of the host file. Okay, so basically when working with multiple links from different sources, coordinate a shared position with all members of the project team. So this strategy provides the most reliable results for positioning models and ensure that the link geometry is aligned with the host model. Okay, and then what else? So we also have here project base point to project base point. So you select this option to align the project base point of the link Revit model with the project base point of the host Revit model. So this positioning option only affects initial placement of the link model. So if the host model's project base point changes, the link model does not reflect the change. Okay, so to reposition the link model, so you just need to select it, right click, and then click reposition to project base point. Okay, so you use the project base point to coordinate Revit models from discipline or from different disciplines such as structural engineering, MEP engineering, and architecture, or to coordinate multiple buildings on a campus, for example. So you can position the project base point in each model on a common location, such as, let's say, grid intersection. So when you link the models, the geometry aligns. Okay, and then we have here several manual. Okay, so basically you can hover your pointer, you can move your pointer, and then you can click to place your link model. Okay, so you just need to move the cursor to adjust the position of the incoming geometry. Okay, but for this exercise, I will be using here internal origin to internal origin. So I just select that one, and then after that, I'm going to select this. So it will now open my architectural model. So there's my architectural model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the properties. So this is called the properties. Okay, if you do not select any elements, the properties here, it will show the view properties. So like for example, if you want to know the scale of your view here, you just need to look at the properties. You can see here the scale. So it's 1:100. Okay, so aside from the properties, you can also see the scale here on the view control bar. Okay, so this is your view control bar. Okay, so just remember, if you do not select any elements, the properties here will show you the properties of the view. So just in case you accidentally close your properties, you want to show that again, you just need to right click, and then there's your properties. So you just need to click that one, and then it will now show again. Okay, aside from that, you also have the project browser here. The project browser is like the table of contents of your project. So as you can see, this is where you double click the view that you want to open. So currently, as you can see, level 2 here is highlighted because that is the view that is currently open. So as you can see here on the title bar, it says level 2. So it says here level 2. So let's say you want to go to level 1 view. So you just need to double click level 1. Just double click that, and then you will now see your link model. So this is very important, the project browser and then the properties. Again, just in case you close your project browser like that, you just need to right click again, browser, and then project browser, right? So aside from the views, you can also see here your legend. You can also see here the schedule. You can see here all the sheets. You can see here all the families in your project, all the groups in your project, as well as the link in your project. In our case, the architectural link is here. So that's your link. So you can find it here on the project browser. Your project browser and then the properties, you can actually combine that like that if you want to save space. So you will be having here the properties tab and then the project browser tab. Okay, so if you want that to be separate, so you just need to drag, let's say, the properties, you just need to drag that outside, and then you can dock that to the right side here, just like that. Oops. What? Okay. Come on. All right, there you go. Okay, now that we have already linked our architectural model, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that, and then make sure that I'm going to select here the pin. So it locks a model element in place so that you will not accidentally move your link model. So that's a very big problem if unknowingly you accidentally move your link model. Okay, so if I click that one, you see I cannot drag it away because it's pinned. Okay, so if your element is pinned, you can also control it here from the status bar. So you have the selection tools here. Okay, so you have your selection tools. As you can see, there's an option here, select pinned elements. So it allows you to select pinned elements in view. So if this is turned off, like this, I'm going to click. You see there's a small X there. So meaning it's turned off. So I will not be able to select this. Okay, so just in case you're wondering, why is it like that? The link model, I cannot select my link model that is pinned. It's because this one is turned off. Okay, any elements that you pin, and then you turn off this, you will not be able to select that. See, I can't select because this is a pinned element, and then the pinned element selection here is turned off. So if I turned it on, I click that, so I will be able to select this. So aside from that, there's also an option here, select links. So it allows you to select links in their elements. So for example, if this is unpinned, so I'm going to unpin that, or just click that pin icon. Okay, so it's now unpinned. So basically, I can now move this accidentally if I want, or if I want to change that one. So I'm going to undo. Okay, now if I do not want this to be pinned and yet I do not want this to be moved accidentally, then you can just turn off this. So I'm going to click that. So there's an X now. So you will notice I cannot select this element. Why? Because this one is turned off, the select links. So if I'm going to click that, so I can now select the link model. Okay, but practice, make sure you pin the link model that you're going to use. Okay, so make sure every time you link your object or a project inside your Revit project, so make sure you pin that. Okay, so now it's pinned. So while the element is still selected, so I'm going to select here edit type. Okay, so take note that if you select an object, the properties here will show you the property of the selected object. Remember, a while ago I said that if you do not select any elements, the properties here will show you the properties of the view. Okay, the properties of the view, like the scale, like the name of the view, okay, the discipline, etc., etc. Now, if you are going to select any elements, like for example our link model, you will notice our properties here will change. So this now is what you call the instance property. So meaning to say, this is the property of the selected link model. Okay, so what I'm going to do is from the instance property, I'm going to select your edit type. So I click that one, and then make sure the room bounding here is checked. Okay, so make sure that one is checked, the room bounding. So it enables the geometry to define the boundary of a room. The extents of a room are defined by the room bounding elements around the room. Okay, so make sure you check the room bounding so that later on you can create your room if you want. You can also create the space if you want, and the Revit will be able to place it properly. Okay, so just check the room bounding. And notice that whenever I hover my pointer, there's a tooltip that appears, right? Like for example, I hover my pointer here, there's a tooltip, right? There's a tooltip that appears. If you do not want that tooltip to appear every time you hover your pointer, although it's really helpful, it tells you how or what is that particular tool, and it also shows you the shortcut. So if you do not want those tooltip appears, so you can turn it off by going to the File, Options, and then you can go to User Interface, and then Tooltip Assistance, okay? So you can select none, you can select minimal, normal, or high. Okay, so currently it's normal. So if I select here none, okay, so you see that when I hover my pointer, there's no tooltip that appears, right? Okay, so it's up to you how you control your tooltip. So you just go to User Interface, Tooltip, I'll just select your normal. And for the double click options here, I'm going to select Customize, because I do not want every time I accidentally double click a family, I always go to the Edit Family window. I do not want that to happen. That's why here on the family, instead of Edit Family, when I double click a family, I'm just going to select Do Nothing. Okay, I'll just select Do Nothing, and then I select here OK, so that just in case I accidentally double click a family, it will not go to the family editor. So that's the reason why I always select Do Nothing here for the family. Okay, it's my personal preference. Okay, select OK, and then you can also go to the graphics here. If you want to change the background, if you want to make it black, just select that, black, that one. And then selection here, this is the default color, blue, or somewhat blue. So you can select, or you can change the selection. So usually what I do there is I select red. And then for the pre-selection, I make it color green. Okay, so there's a difference. So when I hover my pointer over the element, it turns to green. And then if I select an element, it turns to red. So there's this distinction if the element is pre-selected or selected. So I select here OK, and there you go. So as you can see, if I hover my pointer to the object, as you can see, there's a green color that appears right there. But if I click that, it will turns to red. There you go. See, it turns to red. The same with this. You see it's green, but if I click that, it turns to red. Right? So basically, that's how you link your architectural model. So let me just change back again the background to white. Okay. Okay, so that's our first topic, just linking our architectural model. Okay. So in our next video, we are going to learn how to create levels. Okay. So thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. Your mouse, you can see that this is a south elevation. So if you double click that portion, double click, it will open the south elevation. So it's just like you double click the south here on the project browser. It's just the same. Okay. So as you can see, we also have the east. We also have here the north, and of course the west. Okay, so you have two options to go to the elevation view. So one is by using the project browser, the other one is by using the icon in your drawing area. Okay, so let me show you. If I'm going to double click the south here, you will notice the south here will going to be highlighted. It will also be darkened just like your level 2. So if I double click this, double click. Alright, so as you can see, it's now open. So this is now the south elevation. Now if I'm going to click the link model here, as you can see our architectural model, so it contains several levels here. So it has top of footing, levels 1 to 5, and then there's also roof. So our aim here is we are going to create this level. So we're going to create top of footing level, level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, 5, and then the roof. We're not going to create the parapet level. And then you also notice here the template that we have used, the structural template, it contains 2 levels. So it contains level 1 and then level 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the level 2, and then once you click that, you will notice there's a small circle there, and then there's a dotted line. Okay, so meaning to say this is linked to level 1. So if I'm going to drag this, level 1 will follow as well. Okay, and then this lock icon here, okay, so it makes our level 2 and then level 1 lock together so that when we move our level 2, level 1 will also move as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover my pointer to that small circle, hold the left button of your mouse, and then I'll just drag that here. There you go. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to align my level 2 here, the structural level 2, just under this floor here. Okay, if you want to measure this floor that we have on our structural level 2, this floor here, you can click this icon, align dimension, or you can just select this icon, measure between 2 references. So if you're using AutoCAD, this is just like the distance command. Okay, so I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to click from here, 1, and then I'm going to click. So there's a 6 inches thickness of this floor here. So we want to put our structural level here, our level 2, on the underside of this level. So to do that, you can use the move command, or you can also use the align command. Okay, so let me show you the align command. So to go to the align command, you need to go to the modify tab, and then from the modify panel, you can see here the align command. The shortcut also is AL if you want the shortcut. So I'm going to select the align here, and then if you're going to read your status bar, it says here, please select line or reference for alignment. So you need to select first, where do you want to align your level 2? So I want that to be aligned here. So I'm going to select that. And then after that, read again. Please select an entity to align. It will move into alignment with the reference. So you just need to select the element that you want to align to that. Okay, which is this one. This is the second one that you need to select. So click. There you go. And never mind that lock icons. Do not lock that. And then after that, you just need to select modify here to terminate the tool or to escape the command or to deselect the object. So just select modify or just escape a couple of times. There you go. Okay, so there's now our level 2. So another way is you can also use your move command. So I'm going to undo one time so that it will go back to its previous position. So to use the move command, I'm going to select first the object that I want to move, to select, and then you just select here the move command, or you just type MV. Okay, select the move command, and then you click the level, and then you just click to that underside of the wall, or the floor, sorry. There you go. Okay. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create levels 3 until roof. Okay, until the roof. So to do that, so I'm going to select the architecture. I'm going to use here the level command. Okay, so we have two ways of creating our level. So I'm going to select the level here. I click the level. Okay, so take note that you have two options here in creating your level. The first option here is creating a line, meaning you are just going to click 2 points, one and then another point to create your level. And then the other option here is pick lines. So you just need to pick a line. Okay, so I'm going to show you the first option, which is this one, line tool. Okay, now before that, there's an option here. So we call this options bar. So what will happen is automatically after you create the level, make plan view here is checked, meaning it will also create that particular level. So if I'm going to create level 3 level here, it will also create level 3 floor plan here on my project browser if make plan view is checked. But if you only want to create a level, reference level, without the floor plan, then you can just uncheck this one. Okay, but in our case, I'm going to check the make plan view so that I'll be able to create as well the floor plan view here on my project browser. Now using the line tool, so what I just need to do is, I need to click 2 points. Okay, so I'm going to snap here. All right, so there's a problem here. I can't snap. So what I'm just going to do is, you see there's a distance that appears every time I move my pointer. Okay, so my reference here is the structural level 2. So if I move my pointer up, or let's say I'll just type. So let's say 12 feet. So I'm just going to type 12. I'm not going to pick yet, so I'm just going to place my pointer like that, and then I'm going to type 12, and then enter. There you go. So there's now my first point, and then here's now my second point. So I'm going to pick here, align to the other level. There you go. And then as you can see, it also creates here the level 3. Okay, again, I'm going to select modify to deselect the object or to terminate the tool. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the level 1 analytical here. I do not need this. So I'm going to hold control to select analytical level 2, and then the site plan as well. We don't need that. So I'm just going to select and then delete, press delete on your keyboard. Or I'm going to undo again, select, hold control, click. You can right click, and then you can also select there delete. Okay, so you can press the delete on your keyboard, or you just right click and then select delete. Now for this one, I'm going to select the level 3 here, and then you see that button there, the circle. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to tidy up by aligning it to the other level here. There you go. Okay. Right, so that's the first way of creating your level. Okay, so you just need to pick 2 points. All right, now the second way of creating levels, I'm going to select level here, is by using pick lines. So it creates a line based on an existing wall, line, or edge selected in the drawing area. So I'm going to select pick lines, and then since I want to create another level whose distance is 12 feet, so before I pick, I'm going to select here the offset distance. So I'm just going to type 12 here. Okay, you do not need to type the unit fit symbol. Why? Because automatically the Revit will recognize that as a fit. Okay, because that is the default setting. So just to show you, I'm going to terminate this first, and then I will go to the modify tab. Sorry, I'll go to the manage tab, and then I go to the project units. As you can see here, the length is set to feet and fractional inches. Okay, so it's feet and fractional inches. So that's why if I type a number, automatically Revit will read it as feet. So let's say I type 1, so that's 1 foot. So if I type 5, so that's 5 feet. Okay, so that's how Revit will understand that. So if I select here the level, and let's say here, pick lines, feet, the offset here. So if I type here 5, so that means 5 feet. Now, if I want 5 feet and 6 inches, so what I can do is I just type 5, and then I'm going to space 6. Okay, so the Revit will read it as 5 feet 6 inches. Okay, because that is the default units our project is using. So if I press enter, as you can see, automatically it will become 5 feet 6 inches. Now let's say for example, I want millimeters. Okay, so if that's the case, you need to type the unit mm. Okay, so let's say I want 100 mm. So you just need to type 100 mm. So select the level, you select the pick lines option, and then select here 100, and then you type mm. Enter. So automatically Revit will convert that to the current set of units that your project is in. So as you can see, it automatically converted to 3 and 15, 16 inches. Okay, so that is equivalent to 100 millimeters. Okay, so that's how Revit, how intelligent Revit is. All right, anyway, okay, let's go back. So select level, pick lines. So we will be using 12 feet here. So I'm just going to type 12, enter. Okay, for this one, I'm going to pick this. As you can see, there's a dotted line that will appear here. See that one? So do not move your pointer a little below because it will create the level below here. Okay, so make sure your pointer is on the upper side of that level, and then you click. There you go. Again, it will create the level 4 here because make plan view here is checked. Okay, so I'm going to create also level 5. There you go. And then for this one, I'm just going to make the offset 0, and then I'm going to click this level. There you go. All right, and then modify. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the level that I created. You see there's a small circle. Just drag that to align here. And then for me to be able to put that level name, I just need to check this show bevel. Just click that checkbox, and then it will not show. So you have an option. You want turn on, turn off. Same with here. Turn off, turn on. Okay. Well, let's change this one. You can click that to change the name to, let's say, roof. Okay, would you like to rename corresponding view? So what will happen is if you select yes, our views here will also update. So if our level 6, we change that to roof, our level here, the level 6 floor plan will also change to roof, which is what we want to do. Okay, so I'm just going to select here yes. And then if you do not want to show this message again and use the default settings yes, you just need to select check here so that it will not show this message again, and then select yes. So that the settings is always yes for this question. There you go. Okay, as you can see, it's also named here. Now, okay, we also have this level. This is the last one. So level, pick lines. Okay, I'm not going to specify the offset. I'm just going to pick this. Okay, or if you want to specify the offset distance, so you just type 6. Okay, and then you pick here, make sure your pointer is below so that it will create the level here below. If you move your pointer up, it will create the level up. Okay, do not do that. So I'm going to undo it. Pick lines, 6 feet, pick, there you go. Okay, modify, and then I'm going to change the name. I select this. Aside from clicking that to change the name, you can also go here. Okay, So from the properties. So I'll just type here top of footing. All right. And then you can actually change the level here if you want. So let's say, oh, it's wrong. So I do not want minus 6 feet. So you just type here. Okay. You can type. All right. There you go. Okay. So I'm just going to click this, and then I'll just click that and then drag it here just to tidy up. There you have it. Okay. So let me just click this. There's a small circle. So let's drag that here. There you go. All right. So I do not want that double. So I'm going to uncheck this. There you go. All right. So our level now is set up. Okay. So that's how you create levels. So our next topic, I'm going to teach you how to use Copy Monitor. All right. So thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. Going to right click this and then just select reload from and then just locate where is that architectural model. So in my case, this one. So I'm going to select that and then I select open to load it inside the project again. There you go. So there's now my link model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the elevation view where I can see all the levels that we have created. And then from there, I'm going to perform the copy monitor tool. All right. So I'm going to select the south elevation for that on my project browser. And then again, here's our levels. So we need to go to the collaborate tab and then you can see here the coordinate panel. And then one of the tools there is copy monitor. All right. So just click that drop down arrow. You'll be having two options, which is use current project and then select link. Okay. So in our case, we're going to select the link option. Okay, select link. So we're going to monitor elements from a link project to our host project. Okay, so I'm going to select link. All right, and then you hover up your pointer to the link model. As you can see, the outline of your link model, the color green, right? See? Okay, so I just need to select that. Select the model, the link model. There you go. So once you select that, you will now be going to the copy monitor. Copy monitor contextual tab. Okay, and then you will see here the tools panel, and then one of the tool here is monitor. So it establishes relationships between pairs of corresponding elements. This tool establishes a monitoring relationship between two elements of the same type. Okay, in our case, the level of our host project and then the level of our link project. If an element changes, a warning alerts you when you open the project or reload the link model. So we use the coordination review tool to review these warnings. Okay, so I'm going to select the monitor. There you go, and then let us now select our level. So I'm going to select first the level of our host, which is this one, and then the level of our link model, and then this one. It should be in pair. Okay, so just click, and then just zoom out. You should be able to see this heartbeat symbol, or a lightning symbol, or whatever symbol is that. So this is a symbol for your monitor. So meaning to say these two levels are now being monitored. So let's do that as well to the rest of the levels. So I'm going to select the level 1 of the host, level 1 of the link. Click. There you go. So there's the monitor symbol. Select the host. Select the link. There you go. There's the symbol. Select the host. Link. There you go. Select the host. Link. There you go. Host. Link. Host. Link. That's it. As simple as that. So that's how you monitor your elements. So you just need to select your finish once you're done. Just click that. Okay, so just to give you an idea, so let's say I'm going to change the elevation of my level 2. I'm going to change that from 11 feet. Let's say I'm going to make it 8 feet. And then I enter. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. So you will receive a warning, coordination, monitor, alert. Okay. So if I'm going to click the link model, just click that. So you will notice the level 2 here is colored orange, right? Because that means that particular level is being monitored and there's a change that happened. Okay, we deliberately changed the level 2 just for us to be able to see what happens when you edit a monitored element. So for you to be able to review all the changes of the monitored element, what you can do is you can go to the coordination review and then select link. And then after that, you just select the link model. So once you do that, you will now be able to go to the coordination review. So all the changes on the monitored elements will be listed here. So you can see if I'm going to click this, it's now highlighted so that you know what is that particular element that is highlighted. So aside from the message here, you also have the action. So it's up to you if you want to postpone that, or if you want to reject, or if you want to accept the difference, or if you want to move the level 2. So let's say, for example, I'm going to select this, and then you can also add here a comment. Okay, so you can select the add comment and then move level 2. Move the level 2, let's say 3 feet below, something like that. Okay, and then you just select it. Okay, so that's your comment for that. So once you select the action here, so just select apply. Okay, so it will now go back there. Okay, and then the message will now disappear. Okay, so basically that's how you use the coordination review. All right, so same thing. Let's say, for example, the architectural model, the architect open up the architectural model, and then they have changed the level. Let's say they move the level. Okay, and then they save it, and then after that they send you again that architectural model. So once you open up your project with the updated architectural model, you should be able to see a warning dialog box that there is a change that happened on the architectural model. And then again, you need to open the coordination review just to make sure what are those changes, and then you can now select the action that is needed for that. Okay, you can follow the level, for example, that they have moved. Okay, so basically that's how you use the copy monitor tool in Revit for multidiscipline coordination. All right, so hopefully you learned something from this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Here, it highlights the structural model. But if I'm going to change this, let's say, for example, to mechanical, so if I select the mechanical discipline, so you will notice that somehow our model here becomes a bit gray. Okay, because usually if you're going to use the mechanical discipline, it means that you are highlighting mechanical elements like duct, pipe, mechanical equipment, those things. And your structural model will gray out because we want to make our mechanical elements stand out. So that is the reason why if you're going to start up your project using a mechanical project, and then when you link an architectural model, that architectural model automatically will become halftone color or gray because we are trying to highlight there the mechanical element, just like in this view. Now, if I'm going to select here architectural model or architectural discipline, our model here will become highlighted, our building, right? Okay, because we are trying to highlight our architectural elements. Okay, so if I'm going to select here coordination, that is the combination of all the disciplines. So it will highlight here all the architectural, the structural, the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing. Okay, so you get the idea. So that's how the discipline works. Okay, so this is just one of the view properties that you can see from the property. So you also have the view scale, you also have the display model, the detail level. By the way, your view scale, you can also find it here on our view control bar. So this portion here below, this is what we call view control bar. So from the view control bar, you can use this tool to control our view, your current view. Okay, it will only affect your current view. But if you're going to open other views, that is different set of views control bar. So like for example, if I'm going to change the scale here, so let's say if I change that to 6 inches to 1 foot, it will only apply here in this view. So if I'm going to open the level 1, this one is different. So it's 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so if I go back to south, as you can see, it's different. So that's how your view control bar works. It only applies to the current view. Okay, so hopefully that one is clear. So aside from that, aside from using your properties, aside from using your view control bar, you can also use your visibility graphic override. Okay, or VV shortcut or VG. It specifies whether elements and categories are visible in the view and their graphical appearance, like the color, line weight, and line style. Like for example, if I'm going to open the 3D view, so you just need to click this icon here, the default 3D view, just click that icon. So by the way, it will add another tab here, right? So you have the level 1 floor plan, so you have the elevation view, and then you also have the 3D view. Okay, so here in our 3D view, as you can see here, the discipline is coordination. That's why it really highlights all the model. Okay, and it's colored. Why? Because here on our view control bar, the visual style is set to realistic with edges. If I'm going to select your wireframe, then it will show you wireframe. Okay, by the way, if you're going to hold the shift of your keyboard and then hold the middle button of your mouse, you will be able to orbit your 3D model like this. Okay, right? Okay, so you can play around. You can change the visual style to hidden line. You can change that to shaded view. You can change that to realistic or consistent color. So there's the consistent color or shaded view. Okay, so whatever that you want. Okay, so again, these only applies on your current view. Okay, so if I want to control, let's say for example, you will notice here the windows and then the doors are turned off. Okay, now for me to be able to turn it on, the tool that we are going to use here is what we call visibility graphics override. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the edit, or I can also type VG or VV for shortcut. Okay, so I'm going to select edit in my case, and then this is now the visibility graphic overrides for our current view, for the 3D view. Again, this one, just like your view control bar, it only applies to the current view, okay, to your current view. So from the model categories, our 3D model, it's here on the model categories. You can click the drop down arrow here for you to control what are the model categories that you'll be able to show here. Like for example, I do not want to show the air terminals, the mechanical things, the electrical, the piping, so you can just uncheck here so that you'll be able to filter out these elements. Okay, so I can only show here architecture and structure, just like that. And then let's say I want to turn on the windows and doors, so I just need to look for the doors. As you can see, it's unchecked. So I just need to check that one. And then I'll just type W to go to the W, like windows. So just click that. Alright, and then you can even override here the line pattern of your elements. Okay, like for example, for your walls, you can override the line, and then you can click that, and then you can change the pattern here. Okay, so you can do that. You can also change the color, and then you can also change the line weight. Okay, so let me just select OK. I'm not going to touch that yet. Okay, so for now, I just check the windows, and then I'll just check the door, and then after that, just select your OK. And then there you have it. So you now have here your window, and then you also have your door here. Okay, so let's say for example, oh, I want to hide the curtain panel, my curtain wall. So again, I just need to go to the visibility graphic overrides, and then I look for curtain panel, curtain system, curtain wall mullion, and then just select OK. And there you have it. Okay, so basically that's how you control the visibility of your elements. One of the tool is visibility graphic overrides. Okay, so let me just turn back the curtain panel, wall, and curtain system. Okay, and again, just to reiterate, so if you want to change the settings of your view, like you want to show or highlight the mechanical elements, so you just need to change the discipline here instead of coordination, just select, let's say plumbing. So you will notice it will become gray. Okay, so if you have electrical things here, or I mean mechanical elements, you will notice it is highlighted. Okay, it stands out. Okay, because your discipline is mechanical. So let me just change it to structural. There you go. So as you can see, it only shows here, or it only highlights the structural elements. Alright? Okay, so that is your visibility graphic override. So another way of controlling your elements, so let me just go back again to the floor plan. Okay, so I can also change here the detail level. Okay, so this is my detail level. So for the detail level, if I'm going to change the detail level, so currently the detail level here is set to fine. Okay, so it is set to fine. So if I'm going to change that, let's say I'm going to zoom in here on my wall. So if I change that to medium, okay, it doesn't change anything. But if I change that to coarse, so you will notice it changes. Okay, so that's how it looks like. So not only on your walls, not only on structural elements, but also on the pipes, duct. So your detail level controls the visibility of those elements. But since we're talking about structural, I'm not going to show you the duct or the pipe. But if you're going to try, you can try it yourself. You can create a duct, you can create a pipe, and then you can change the detail level to fine, change to medium, and then you can also change that to coarse, and then you will see the difference of those elements. Okay. Right. So this is one option to modify your view is your detail level. Okay, and then of course your scale. And then aside from that, you can also change the visual style, or you can also crop. So let's say you only want to show this portion here, this area. okay, you can turn on the crop region. So just click the crop region, just click that one. It's now turned on. If you zoom out, you can now see the crop region, which is this one. So you can click this to crop your view. So just make sure to turn on the crop view here, just like this. Because if it is like this, when you click that, so it's turned off. So if I'm going to move my crop region, it will not crop the view, right? It will only allows us to move the crop region. Now, if you want to crop this area, so you just need to turn on this crop view. There you go. Okay, so that you'll be able to concentrate on this area only. Okay, if your project is too big and then you don't want to confuse yourself, so you can crop one portion of the area. Or of course, if you want to show this only in your sheet, then you can use a crop. Okay, so let me just turn off the crop view and then turn off the crop region. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a view template. Okay, so let's say, for example, I'm going to set up this view. So for example, this view, I want this to be, let's say, 1 inch equals 1 foot. Okay, so I select that one. So that's the scale that I want for this view. And then after that, I also want to change the detail level here to, how about coarse? That's the one, coarse. And then here, just select hidden line. Okay, and then instead of the discipline coordination, so I'm going to change this to structural because I want a structural view. Okay, so for example, that's the structural view, and then I do not want to show the doors. So I go to the visibility graphic overrides, and then I'm going to turn off the doors, and then I'm going to turn off the windows as well, for example, and then I'll just select OK. So for example, this is the view that I want to show on my level 1 structural plan. Okay, now what I'm going to do is after setting up this view to the view that I want, so I'm going to right click the level 1, and then there's an option here, create view template from view. So meaning to say, we will be using this setting of this view to create a view template. So by the way, what is view template? So if I go to the view tab, there's a view template. I just hover my pointer, let us read. So view template, it creates, edits, or applies standardized settings to views. So we use this to standardize our settings. A view template is a collection of view properties such as view scale, discipline, detail level, the visibility settings that are common for a view type. So use view templates to standardize settings for a views in a project. So this is what we are trying to create. So in this view, we want these settings to be applied to our level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, for example. So instead of going to level 2 and then redoing again the whole process, like I change this to 1 inch to 1 foot, I change this to coarse, I change this to hidden line, I change this to structural. So instead of doing this again and again in every views, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click the level 1 because this is already the settings that I want. So I'm going to select create view from template, create template from view, and then I'll just put here, let's say structural plan. Okay, oops. So I just put here typical structural plan, and then I just select here OK. And there you go. So as you can see, it's now added here on my view template. So there's my structural plan. And then if I want to modify this template, like for example, the scales, I can just go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck the view scale here. So meaning to say, I am not going to include the view scale to the view template typical structural plan. So I'm going to uncheck that. And then the rest I want to include to this template. So I'm going to select now OK. So look what will happen. Okay, so after I create the view template, what I'm going to do is from the properties here, I'm going to move my slider down, and then I select here the view template. As you can see, there's no view template that is assigned here. So that's why what I'm going to do is I'm going to select none, and then it will go to the assign view template window. So for this one, I'm going to select typical structural plan. So this is the view template that we just created a while ago. So I select this, and then I select here OK. So once I select OK, the view template now is applied to this view. And check this out. If I want to turn on the view here, like the door or window, I'm going to check out the visibility graphic override. So if I select edit here, notice that I cannot change from here, right? It's grayed out. So let's say I want to change the detail level. So if I change the detail level, I click this one. Again, I cannot change that. If I change the visual style for this one, again, I cannot change that one. Why? Because there is a view template that is applied here. But if I change the scale, let's say I change that to 1/8 to 1 foot, as you can see, I can do that, right? There you go. So I can change the scale. Why? Because if you remember on the view template that we created, all right, manage view templates. On the view template that we created, the typical structural plan, remember that we unchecked the view scale. Okay, so that's the reason why we can change it here. But if we want the view scale to be applied or to be included to the typical structural plan, let me just rename this because it's wrong spelling. Structural plan. Okay. So if I want the view scale to be included to this template, I just need to check that one. And then okay. And then notice that if I click this, see, I cannot change anymore. Okay, so in order for me to change the scale, I need to go to the view template. So I need to go here to the view template, and then I can change from here. Same with the door and window. So if I want to open up the door here or windows, I need to change it here on the visibility graphic overrides model. So I need to click that, and then from here I need to turn it on if I want. Okay. Now let me show you the another beauty of the view template. So like what I've said, if I go to level 2, or yeah, I go to level 2. So instead of redoing the whole process on what I did on level 1, so I just need to right click this, and then I can just apply the template properties, the one that we created, or I can just simply go here, view template, and then apply the template that we created. So I select that, and then I select here OK, and there you go. So it's now set up. So same with level 3, click level 3, view template, typical structural plan, and then select OK. So if I open the level 3, as you can see, it's now applied. Okay, so basically that's how you use your view template, and then that's how you use your visibility graphic overrides. So don't worry, we will be using the visibility graphic overrides, the view control bar, the view template in our next videos because most of your Revit career you will be using these tools. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. So you just select that one. And then as you can see, you have options here for creating your grids. It's either you create a line, okay, like you are just going to pick 2 points like that. You just need to pick 2 points. Or you can also create grids that is arc shape. And then this one is also arc shape. And then the other one is peak lines option. So which is what I'm going to use. And take note, you also have here multi-segment grid. Okay, but for this one, I'm just going to use the peak lines option. So I'm going to select the peak lines option. And then as you can see on your options bar, you also have an option here to specify the offset distance or if you want to block it. So for the meantime, I'm just going to use the default settings. So I'm going to use the peak lines option without an offset distance. So for this one, I'm going to place my grid at the midpoint or the center of this wall. So you just need to zoom in. And then as you can see, there's the center line. So you just need to pick. And then there you go. So there's now your grid. So it's just the same as your level. It also has the characteristic wherein you can turn off or turn on the grid bevel. And then you can also lock it. And then you can also drag that if you want to move it away so that it will not block your elements here, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to hover my pointer to that small circle and then I'm just going to drag it up. Okay, just like that. And then I select your modify. So there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click again that grid. And then to tidy up, I'm going to click that small circle, drag it down. Just like that. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to move the elevation like this. I'm going to select that. And then I'm just going to move it up, just drag up. Okay, so same with this one, so I'll just select and then drag down. Okay, it's probably the same as this one, so select, and then this one here, just like that. Okay, so let me just select this grid, and then let me show the bevel. Just select that, there you go. So take note that if you want to change this from numerical to alphabetical, so you just need to click that, and then you click again, and then you can specify here whatever name that you want on your grid. And take note that aside from clicking here, you can also go to the instance property of that grid and then change it. Okay? Anyway, so I'm just going to click that, tidy up a bit. Okay, and then let us continue creating our grids. So to create another grid, you can copy. Okay, you can select the grid, and then select the copy tool. And then again on the options bar, you have here constraint wherein the movement will going to be like ortho in AutoCAD, wherein the movement is only horizontal and vertical. You'll not be able to go to an angle if you turn on the constraint. And then you also have here an option to copy your elements multiple times, because if multiple is unchecked, you can only copy it once. Okay, so let me check the constraint here. Let me check the multiple. Okay, and then I'm going to select the base point just somewhere here. Okay, and then I'm just going to place it here. So let me just hover my pointer just to snap at the center line of that wall. So I'll just click. There you go. So I'm just going to continue copying my grids. Number 5 is here. And number 6, so make sure you select the midpoint of that exterior wall, click, right? Okay, and then if you want to create another grid here, like for your grid 7, so you can specify the distance. Okay, so as you can see, every time you move your pointer, there's a temporary dimension that appears, so you can type the distance. So let's say, for example, I'm going to type here 18, or you just need to pick, once you see the 18 feet, you just pick, or just hover your pointer, move your pointer to the right, and then just type 18, and then enter. There you go, so there's your grid number 7, for example. Okay, now if you want to put your grid, like for example at the center of this arc here. Okay, so what you can do is you can create another grid. Okay, so you can create another grid. For example, I want to create an arc grid here. So I can select again the grid tool, and then I use the peak lines option. And then for this one, I'm going to put here an offset distance of let's say 6 inches. So I'm going to type 6 inches, and then enter. And then I'm going to move my pointer to that arc part, and then click. Okay, and then after that, I select the box here just to show you the double. There you go. Okay. So I can still select this one, and then I can still drag that somewhere like this so I can see it nicely. So I can click that, just like that. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this, select, and then I select the delete here, or just delete on your keyboard. Just press the delete after you select. Okay. So once I delete that one, so I can create another grid. Let me select the grid. Okay, and then I'll use this one line. Okay, and then I want to snap at the center of this arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type SC. SC stands for snap center. Okay, you can check the shortcuts here on the manage tab of your snap. Select the manage tab and then you select the snaps here. As you can see, there's the object snap. By default, it's already checked. But if you want to be specific to snap, not be snapping anywhere, okay, or not snapping the midpoint, endpoint, you just want to snap, for example, to the center. So you can type SC. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this. I will type SC and then move my pointer to the arc, and then you will be able to see the center snap. So once you see that center snap, you just need to click, and there you have it. So you just created another grid here. So I just pick, and there you go. So of course, I'm going to change this to 7, and then enter. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to pick this, drag. I want to make my grids tidy. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to create another grid here horizontally. So another way to create your grid is you just select the element, and then right click, and then you can select create similar. And then you'll be able to create grid. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the pick lines option. So let me pick here. There you go, just pick. We're going to arrange that later. Okay, I'll just arrange it now. So modify. So here, instead of numbers, what I want is I want alphabets, letters. So I select that. Again, I can also change from here. Change to A, for example. Enter. And there you go. So just click that. Click the box to show the bevel. And then just tidy up again. So let's say I'm going to put it here. Okay, so I want this to be letter B. Okay, so select that B. Okay, so again, I can select, right click, create similar, and then pick lines option. Okay, pick here at the midpoint of the exterior wall. So that one is, I want this to be letter A. Okay, just like that, select. Okay, click the grid, align. There you go. Okay, so let's complete our grid. So select, right click, create similar, pick lines. So this is going to be my letter C. There you go. So this is going to be my letter D. Oh no, this one D, this is my E, and then this is my F. There you go. Then again, let's fix this. Okay, let's tidy up. So just your C, your E, and then let's drag this here. That's my D. Okay, let's select this. Drag D. There you go. Okay, so let's say I want to create another grid here. Oh, so if this is F, I'll just make this G. Enter. Okay. And then if I want to create another grid here with an angle, let's say of 45, so I'll just create another grid. So select, right click, create similar. I'll pick the line tool here. Pick that. Then I'm going to pick here. 45. There you go. Okay, so that's my 45, and then I'm going to pick another one here. 45. There you go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call this, like, if this is 7, so I'll just call this 7.1. 7.1, and then I'll just call this grid 7.3. So it's up to you, okay? Alright, so basically that's how you create your grids. So if you want, you can select all the grids. You can click one of the grids, right click, and then select all instances that is visible in view. So you will be able to select all of the grids. We have 16 grids here, and then don't forget to pin that, okay? Pin, and there you have it. So once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. And you select here architectural column, okay? Now, in our case, I'll just go to the structure. I select here column, the structural column. The shortcut is CL. It adds a vertical load-bearing element to the building model. So I'll just click this one out. And then after that, we are going to check out the type selector here. So these are the current column that is available. But since what I want is a steel column, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load it. Okay, so there is an option here, load family. So you click that one, and then you will now see here the load family dialog box. Okay, so here there's a column folder here, but this is not what we are going to use because the columns that is inside this folder is architectural column. So what we are going to do is we're going to move our slider down and then look for structural column. So just double click that. Okay, and then let's look for the steel. Okay, so just double click the steel. Okay, and then let's look for hollow structural section. This one. So let's try this one out. So MHSS hollow structural section column. So I'll just select this one and then I select here OK. Okay, so once you do that, you will see the specify dialog box here. Specify types dialog box. So the type that I will be using here is, let's say, I only have HSS 6. Oops, where's my pointer? Alright, so let's explore this one out. Okay, so how about okay, so how about this one? Okay, so I'll try this one out. HSS 57.2 by 57.2 by 3.2. Okay, so I select that and then I select here OK. Okay, so it's now loaded. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in, and then after that I'm just going to pick here at the intersection of grid A1. So I'm just going to pick, oh, before I pick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change here from the options bar. I'm going to select height. Okay, when you say depth, that means your column will start at your current level, in our case level 1, and then it will go down, okay, up to top of footing level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here height. So that means it will start on level 1 on your current level up to the specified level that you want. So in our case, I'm going to specify here roof. So that means level 1 until the roof level. Okay, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm just going to pick here on grid A1. So just pick. There you go. All right, and then I select here modify. Now, as you can see here, you are able to see the thickness of your line weight of your element. Okay, so if you want to see a fine line, okay, the fine line without the line weight, so you can use the thin lines tool. Okay, so the shortcut of this is TL. Okay, thin line. So if I select this one, boom. So that is what will happen. It will show you the finer detail of your elements without the line weight. At least you'll be able to see some clashes if there's a clashes, or you will be able to snap easily without the thickness of your element. So you can do that. You can turn on, you can turn off. Okay, so that's our column. Okay, so if I want to see the 3D model of this area, of this column, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this steel column. So I select that, and then there is an option here, selection box, or you can type BX. It isolates selected elements in the current view or the default 3D view. So I'm going to select that, and then I select here, selection box. Just select that one. And boom, where are you? Okay, there you go. See? So there is now our, oops. You can right click and zoom to fit just in case you lost your model. Okay? And then you can click the section box, and then from here you can hold the shift, and then you can orbit. Okay? Now for this one, I can't see clearly here my structural column. So what I'm gonna do is I'll change the discipline. I changed that to structural. And let's see, there you go. So there's the column. Okay. Alright, so as you can see, it's from level 1 until the roof level. Okay, so let's go back again to the level 1. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick way of placing your column on the intersection of your grids. So to do that, I'm going to select again the column here, structural column, using the type of the column that we have selected earlier. And this time around, from the multiple option, I'm going to select Add Grids. At grid intersection, it creates structural columns at the intersections of the selected grid lines. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. There you go. And then I'm going to use crossing selection. So I pick from right to left. There you go. And then after that, automatically Revit will place a column at all intersection of your grids. You see? But later on, we are just going to delete some couple of columns that we do not need. But for now, make sure you select finish. Select that one. And there you go. And then select modify to terminate the command, or press escape a couple of times to terminate it. There you have it. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to delete some of the columns, so I don't need this column here. So select that, and then delete on your keyboard, press delete, select, delete. We don't need that, for example, delete. Okay, what else? So let's say I don't need that. Okay, just select. Then I don't need that. Select and then delete. Okay, right. Oh, there's a column here in our door, so we're just going to tell the architect to move their door. Okay, let me turn on the, or turn off the thin lines. There you go. So there are now our columns. Okay, in every intersection. So let us try to check out our model in 3D view. So select the 3D view. Okay, and then let's turn off the section box so we can see the whole 3D model. So select that, uncheck, and there you go. So it's now turned off. So right now, it's structural, so it's now showing all the structural elements, including our column. Okay, so let us try to isolate this column so that we can have a look at it. So I'm going to click one of the column, right click, select all instances visible in view, and then isolate. No, I'll just select this one, temporary hide, isolate element. What? Didn't isolate. Okay, so let's select that, isolate category. Okay, so it's a structural column. Okay, so how about just go to the visibility graphic overrides? No. Okay, what I want to do is I'm having a mental block. So uh, 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 temporary hide isolate. Okay, so let's select our column. Where's our column? This is the column. So let's isolate the category. Oh, I understand now. It's because of the link model. So I'll just hide the link model. So let me just select this again, reset, visibility graphic overrides, edit. Let's go to links. Let's uncheck the architectural and then let's select here OK. There you have it. So these are now our columns. Okay. If you want to know how many columns that we have here, so you can use the window selection like that. And then you now have here 92 items. You can click the drop down. So here we have structural column of 46. Okay, so do not include the analytical column. So we don't need that. So basically that's how you add your column. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Create column offset. Okay, so as you can see here in our model, this is the same model that we are working on here. So if I'm going to zoom in here, so we have 4 columns here. So let's say, for example, I want to add an offset, okay, to this column. Like, for example, for these 2 columns here, I want to offset that here on the left side with a distance of 4 feet. So if I'm going to select this column, so you will notice here that, as you can see, it's our hollow structural section column, and then you can see here the properties. So the column location here is C3. Okay, so if I select this one, the column location of that is C3. So notice that once we add here an offset, okay, so I'm going to select this column using window selection. Window selection is from left going to right. Okay, so make sure you only select the 2 objects or the 2 elements. So I'm going to select both, and then I'm going to use the move tool. Okay, so move tool. Okay, so I'm going to pick the base point here, and then I'm just going to type 4 for 4 feet, and then enter. And then I select your modify to deselect the object. So once I select this column, you will now notice here on the property that the column location now is updated to C3 and then the offset distance of minus 4 feet. Okay, so that's how it works. So that's how you add a column offset. So let's try to do that as well on the other tool here. So I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to move that, move here to the right, and then I'll type 4 and then enter. There you have it. Okay, so basically that's how you add column offset, or that's how you create a column offset. Okay, so if I select this one, so you will now see here the column location is C4 and the 4 feet. So it's positive because it's going to the right. But for this one, since we move this to the left, so you will notice that the value here is minus, is negative, negative 4 feet. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to learn is, let's try to create a column schedule. Okay, so we know that we can right-click the schedules here and then you can create this. But there is actually another tool here that is called New Graphical Column Schedule. Okay, so I'm going to select this one. By the way, you can also go to your View tab, and then you can look for the schedules, drop down here, and then you can see the graphical column schedule. So it's the same, okay? So I'm going to select this, and there you go. So you just created now your column schedule. So it's now added here in our project browser, the graphical column schedule. If you click that, so there's your schedule. Of course, you can still right click that, and then if you want, you can rename your column schedule. So let us zoom in here. Let's have a look around. So as you can see, there's our column. So right now, the representation of our column here is just a single line. Okay, so these columns that we have here behaves like our real column in our model. Okay, so that's why it is being affected by our detail level here. So currently the detail level is coarse. If I change that to fine, you will now see what it happens. There you go. Okay, so how about if I change it to coarse? So it looks like that. If I change to medium, it looks like that. If I change it to fine, so it looks like that. Okay, so I'm just saying that our columns here on the schedule, on the column schedule, behaves like your real beam or a real column in your project. So meaning to say, it's also affected by our visual style. So if I change this to shaded color, so it's changed to shaded. See, there's a shade there. Or realistic. Let's check out. There you go. So it's realistic column. Okay. And then you can also see here where it is located. So this column that we have here, where that is from level 1 up to the roof that we created, is on our A1. There's the column location. And then we also have here the column offset, right? It also includes the column offset. Remember, we have offset our columns there. There. Okay. And one thing that you can also do here on our column schedule is that you can modify the properties of the graphical column schedule. So like, for example, you can specify the text appearance. For example, I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, so I just zoom in. So you can select the text appearance, and then you can modify here. The title text, you can change that. So let's say, oh, I want it bold. I want to change the width to, I like a 0.8. Okay, so 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. And then I'll select your OK. And there you go. Okay, so that's how you update your text. Okay, so you just need to explore your properties. Okay, you can also change here the material types. Okay, you can filter it out, so you can select edit. So let's say you only want the steel, so you can select check none, just select the steel, and then you can select your OK. Right? Okay, see? Dates. Right, so you just need to explore this one out, so we don't have time to explore all of the options here on the graphical column schedule properties. And another thing that I would like to discuss is, aside from the column offsets, aside from creating a column schedule, I'm going to quickly show you how to add a slanted column. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to select here the level 1, and then I'm just going to pen my drawing here. Okay, so I'll just create another set of grids here just to show you how to use the slanted column. Okay, so to do that, I'll create first my grids. So I select the grid. Okay, so I'll just use this one. So let's say I'll just create this one here. So I'll just create one here. Okay, so I'll just click this. You know already how to create grids, right? So let's copy this. How about I'll just call this letter M. Oops. Oops, sorry. So I'll just make it M. Okay, so let's copy this. Copy multiple constraint. All right, so let's copy that. Okay, how about I copy it 10 feet. There we go, 10 feet. There we go. Let's say 50. Oops, that's too long. Okay, so let me just delete this. Copy again. Select. Copy. Multiple constraint. Okay, so let's copy this around 30. Just like that. 30. Okay. Now let me create a horizontal grid. So select. Right click. Create similar. Let's create one here. Okay. There we go. Create one here. Create one here. Okay. So I'm just quickly creating my grids here. So without exact distance. Okay. Alright, so to create your slanted column, so what you can do is you can go to the, or let us just create the same type of column that we have here. So I'm going to select this column, okay, and then after that, I'm just going to, while that column is selected, I'm going to right click, remember the create similar, so you just select create similar. Alright, so here on our placement, there is an option, is slanted column. Okay, so I'm going to select the slanted column, so I select that one. Okay, so once you select that, you need to specify here the first click and then the second click. So what I want to do is, I want to create my slanted column from, let's say, level 1 to level 2. So what I'm going to do is, right, for my second click, I want this to be level 2 without an offset distance, just 0. And then for the first click, let's say I want that level 1. Okay, so my first click will going to be on level 1, my second click will going to be on level 2. So I'll just turn off the 3D snapping here. So I'll select that and check. Okay, so let us now select. Our first click will be on level 1, so I'm going to pick one here. Okay, make sure it snaps at the intersection correctly. Click, so that's our first click, and then here's my second click. There you go. Right, okay, so some columns in the project are excluded from the graphical. That's okay. Alright. Right, so this is now our column. So if I'm going to select this, or how about I'll just go to the 3D view, default 3D view, and then let's see how it looks like. So there you go. So there's your slanted column. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this on my level 1. I'll just copy that. So I select, copy, multiple, constraint. Okay. So I'll just pick the base point here. 1, 2, and then 3. That's okay because it's just telling us that some columns in the project are excluded from the graphical column schedule view. That's okay. So I'll just select modify here. Okay. There you go. Okay. And then after that, I'll just create a normal column. So column. Okay. I'll just select this, create similar. So right click, create similar. Okay. From level 1, oops, vertical column, height. From level 1 until level 2. There you go. Okay. And then I'll just pick one here, 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 and then modify to terminate. Then let us select these 3 columns. Again, I just copy, paste point, click, click. Alright. And then let's go to the 3D view and let's see how it looks like. There you have it. Okay. Right? Okay. So that's how you create your slanted column. And aside from that, you can also attach your columns to a steel. Let's say, for example, if you're going to create a beam. Okay, so let me go back again to level 1. Okay, let us further play around on our column. Let us add some beam. So let's say I select the beam here, so I click the beam. Okay, so I'll just use this option here. So for the first point of my beam, so I'm going to pick one here. Okay, so make sure the chain here is checked so that you will be able to continuously create your chain without breaking a point. Okay, so I'm going to pick one here. Let's say I'm going to pick it all the way here. For example, how about all the way here? Okay, there you go. So there's now my beam. Okay, so it's the same. So let me pick here 1, 2, and then I can just pick all the way here. Okay, it's your preference. So escape once so that you do not totally terminate the beam tool. don't worry, we are going to have a separate discussion about the beam. I'm just quickly showing you another options that we can use using our column. Okay, I'm going to show you how to attach it. Okay, so if I go to the 3D view, all right. So let me select this. Select. Okay, all right. On the front view, so I go to the front view. So I'm going to copy this. Okay. Oh, I'll just how about just move. So I'll just move that. Pick the base point here, and then let's disjoin this. So let's say I'm going to pick it somewhere here. Okay, and then select your modify. Okay. So just like in architectural, you can attach also your column to your beam. So to do that, all you have to do is to select your column. Oops, do not select the analytical column. So just select the column here, and then there's an option here, attach top base on our modify column. So I select this one, and then I'm going to click where I want to attach that. So it's now attached there, right? So that's how you attach your column to a beam. So just select, attach top base, and then you click. There you go, right? So select, attach top base, and then click. Okay, so select, attach top base, click, right? Okay, so this is another trick that you can use for your column just in case you want to attach that to a beam. Okay, so you can also do this. So select, select, attach top base, click. Select, attach top base, click. Okay. Right. Okay, so basically that's how your columns work in Revit. So in this video, we have learned how to create column offset, we have learned how to create a column schedule, and then we also learned how to add slanted column, and then the last part, we learned how to attach our column to our steel or to our beam. Okay, so hopefully you learned something from this video, guys. If you had any questions, suggestions, you can put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so once again, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Control bar. So as the name suggests, the view control bar here control the visibility of your element in your current view. So like, for example, if you want to change the scale of your current view, you just need to change from here. Although you can also change it here from the view properties. Okay, so this is another way of changing your scale from the view control bar. And also you can change here the detail level. So as you can see currently it's fine. So if I click that, if I select, let's say, cores, you will see the changes here on our wall. Okay, the detail level not only affect your wall, but it also affect your pipes, your ducts, okay, your wall, your cable tray, your conduit. Okay, so that's how your detail, or those are the elements that your detail level affect. So if I change this to medium, there you go. So that's how it looks like. So it shows more detail of your element. So let me just put it back again to find. Okay, and let's say you want to change the visual style to shaded, so you can select shaded. So you'll be able to see the shaded view of your object or your elements or your project. Okay, so this only applies on your current view. If you go to the other view, you will not be able to see these changes. Okay, so they will remain on their default settings. Now let me just put it back again to hidden line. So the tool that we will be using here is this one. Okay, temporary hide isolate. So as the name suggests, this tool temporarily hide or isolate an element. Let's say for example, for this one I want to hide this grid. Okay, temporarily. So I can select that, and then I can select temporary hide isolate. So I can select here isolate element or hide element. So if I select hide element, it will hide that element, right? And then you can see the cyan box here telling you that you are on the temporary hide isolate tool. Okay, if you want to go back to your normal view, you can always click that again, and then you can select reset temporary hide isolate. There you go. All right, so let me just select again. Let me select again this tool. So that is hide element. Now, what is hide category? So we're talking about here element and category. So the element, if you select hide element, it will hide the selected element or elements in your project. Like for example, if I use a crossing selection like this from right to left, okay, if I select this one, so I can select hide element. Okay, so it will only hide the selected elements in your project. But if you are going to use the other tool here or option, which is hide category, it will not hide only this selected element, but it will hide all the elements that has the same category. Like for example, number 2 here, if you check out, it also has the category of grids. Okay, so number 5, that is also grid. So that's how you check the category. You just need to select the element. Okay, like for example, this, okay, this link. So as you can see, that is a category of Revit link, right? So that's how you check what category is that particular element. Okay, so if I click this one, oops, come on, all right. If I click that one, so as you can see, it says here grid, right? So that's grid. So if I'm going to click this one, all right, so let me just click that and then click this again. So you can hide the category. So not only the selected element, but all the elements under the same category. Okay, so you can apply that to any elements: walls, duct, pipes, ceiling, equipment. So all elements. All right. So let me just go back again to reset. Okay. Oops. There seems to be a problem with my video. Okay, there you go. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I do not want to see all the grids. That's why what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me just put it back again. I'm going to select the grids, click the grid, and then I'm going to hide it. Of course, you can also isolate it. Okay. Isolate. It will isolate the selected element or the selected category. Like for example, isolate category. It will isolate all the grids. Okay. Right. Pretty useful, huh? So reset. Okay. So let me just select one of the grid and then hide it. Hide category. So I only want to see my model here. Okay. So now we are going to create a foundation wall. So to do that, you just need to go to structure. Click the drop down of wall. So you just select here wall structural. So you click that one, and then from the properties, click the drop down arrow, and then let's grab our foundation. Okay, this one. So let's use foundation 12 inches concrete. So I'm going to select this one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create another type of a family. Like for example, I'm looking here for a foundation wall of let's say 1 foot and 10 inch or 6 inches. Okay, so let's say I want to create here a foundation wall that is 1 foot and 6-inch concrete. So as you can see, I do not have it here. So for me to be able to do that, so I need to select a certain type of wall that where I am going to pattern that type. You select any wall and then you select edit type. So if you select edit type, it will open the type properties. Okay. So before you modify this, so you need to duplicate. So this is the way to create a new type of family. So just duplicate that. So let's say I will call this 1 foot, let's say 6 inches concrete. Example like that. Okay. And then I'll select here OK. So it will now create that type. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select here edit, because I want to change the width. Currently the width here is only 1 foot. So I'm going to select here duplicate. Oh, sorry, not duplicate, but edit. Okay, so edit, and then let's change here the thickness. Let's change the thickness to 6 inches. All right, and then select here OK, and there you have it. Okay, so you just created a new type. So just select here OK. Now, for me to be able to place it, I'm going to select here peak lines. So my aim here is to place the foundation wall at the center line of the wall, the outline of this building. Okay, so I'm going to select the peak lines, and then after that, as you can see here, so the location line is wall center line. So the depth here is 12 feet. Okay, so that's the depth. So it's 12 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick the center line for this one. Okay, so I'm going to select peak lines. Okay, and then I'm going to wait. I want to hide the grid. Sorry, let me just modify first to terminate it. Let me just click the grid. Right click. Oh, sorry. Click the grid. Hide category. Okay, there you go. So let me select now the structural wall and then look for the family that I just created. I'm going to select peak lines here. Location line is wall center line. So the depth is 12 feet. Unconnected. So we can change that later on. So I'm going to pick the center line here. So I pick that one. There you go. So there's one. So let me pick one here again. There you go. Click here. Okay, just click. Just click. 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 All right, and the last one, click. There you go. Okay, and then after that, select modify to terminate the tool, or just escape a couple of times, just like that. Okay, now if I go to the 3D view, there you have it. There you go. See, that's now the foundation wall. Okay, so as you can see, the thickness of that is 12 feet. Of course, you can always modify that. So if you want to modify the height of your foundation wall, so you just need to select that, and then you just need to modify from here. Okay, so let's say, for example, I want to change the thickness or the height of my foundation wall here. So I can hover my pointer, just hover your pointer like that, and then you can press tab once. Do not hold the tab, just press once, and then tab again. There you go. So it will highlight the connection, and then you can click to select all the connections. So after that, you can now change from here. So like for example, you want that minus 6 feet, enter. So you will notice it will now change. There you go. Okay, so it's up to you. So I'm just showing you how to do it. Okay, so basically that's how you create your foundation wall. So if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can always put it on the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Our next topic is about wall footings. Okay, so thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bar. So on our view control bar, you have this tool that is called show crop region, and then the partner of this one is crop view. Okay, so as you can see, if I'm going to click this one, as you can see, the bulb here is turned off, right? And it says show crop region. So that means if I'm going to click this button, it will show the crop region. And automatically, notice that the crop view here will going to be activated. Okay, so as you can see, there's an X here. It's turned off. So if I click here, the show crop region, the partner of that one, which is the crop view, will going to be turned on. So I'm going to click this. And there you go. So it's turned on and then it's turned on. Okay, so this is the crop region. So this is very useful if your project is so big and then you want to concentrate on one part of the building. So you can use your crop region. Okay, actually you can still use your crop region with your crop view here turned off. Okay, so I'm going to select this. So as you can see here, the name says do not crop view. So meaning to say if I click this, it will not crop the view, because right now if I move my crop view here, it will crop the view, right? Just like that. So if I'm going to click this, it says do not crop view. So if I click that one, it will not crop the view. Okay, so you can use the crop view here if you want to concentrate, or the crop region if you want to concentrate on one part of your building, just like that. And then after that, you just need to turn on the crop view. So select that, so you'll be able to concentrate on one part of your building. Okay, so another tool that you can partner with your crop region and then your crop view. So let me just turn it off again to the crop view is your text. Okay, so let's say for example here I'm going to create a text. So I'm going to select the text, and then after that, so by default here no leader is selected. So that's why if I create here a text, so this is the default text. So let's say I'm going to use a 1/4 inch Arial. So I'm going to select this one. I'm going to place it here. Okay, so I'm just going to type a text here. So let's say this is my sample text. Okay, so as you can see, if I click outside, it will not terminate. So that's the default, no leader. So if you want to have a leader, like 2 segments, so you can select that one. So let's say I want to create here my first point, and then the second point here, and then the third point. There you go. Okay. So let's say, for example, I'm going to put there art wall or whatever text that you want. Okay. So this one can be controlled by the tool here on our properties, which is annotation crop. The first 2 tools that we have used earlier is the crop view and then the crop region visible. So you can also find this tool here, the crop region and then the crop view on our view properties. So it's called crop view and then crop region visible here. So if I'm going to turn on the annotation crop, so I'm going to check that one out and then just click outside. So if I'm going to turn on now the crop view here on the view control bar or just select the crop view here. So as you can see now, it crops also the annotation. And then if I'm going to hover my pointer to the crop region here, so aside from the broken line, aside from the solid line here, there is also a broken line. So this broken line is your annotation crop. So that means any text that is outside your annotation crop will be cropped out from the view. So I can adjust this one if I want, and it will now show here the text. But if I'm going to touch that with the annotation crop, it will be cropped out. It will be hidden. Okay, so that's why if you have so many text outside here, and then you want that text to be turned off or to be cropped, so you just need to turn on the annotation crop. You just need to check that one, and let's say you want to show all the annotations, so you just need to uncheck your annotation crop. There you go. See? Okay, so usually if I do not want to make my view looks dirty, there's a lot of text dimensions out there, I also check the annotation crop. There you go. Okay, so remember, this is your crop region. It can crop your model elements, and then this one is the annotation crop. All right, so now let us go to our topic, which is wall footing. So I'm going to unhide this one, and then I'm going to uncheck or turn off the crop view. There you go. So let me just delete the text that I just created earlier. Now, so after our last video, we have learned how to create our foundation wall. So I just opened the 3D view. Okay, my laptop is so slow. So there's our foundation wall. So this time around, we are going to put an element on our wall here, which is a wall footing. Okay, so to create a wall footing, what I'm going to do is going back to my level 1. I'm going to select here structure, and then there is an option here. There's a panel foundation, and then there's our wall foundation. Okay, so you just need to select the foundation wall, and then as you can see, this is the default wall foundation bearing footing. So what we are going to do, let's edit this one. So let's say, for example, we are going to create another type of wall foundation, because as you can see, I only have here a couple of wall foundation types. So what I'm going to do if I want to create a new type is I'm going to go ahead and select edit type, and then we are going to duplicate that. So duplicate. Okay, so I'm just going to name it bearing footing, but for the size, I'm going to make it, let's say 3 feet. 3 feet by, let's say 6 inches. Okay, so 3 feet by 6 inches. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to select here OK. Right, so after you create that type, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are now going to specify here the dimension. Okay, so for the dimension, so I'm just going to put here the width. So instead of 3 foot or 3 feet, so I'm going to make it, the foundation thickness, so that is 3 feet, the width, and then the foundation thickness is 6 inches. So I'm just going to change from here. So 6 inches. Okay, so the width is 3 feet, and then the foundation thickness is 6 inches. All right, and then after that, I just need to select here OK. There you go. Now the next thing that we are going to do is, since this is a wall foundation, so we need to select our wall here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover my pointer to one of the wall, just like that. Do not click, just hover your pointer. So once you see it highlights, as you can see, it turns green, right? When I hover my pointer, it turns green. So maybe in your case, it might turn the color to blue, which is the default color of highlighted element. So in my case, it's color green, right? So I'm going to hover my pointer like that. Do not click yet, just hover. So once you see it highlights, you press the tab. Okay, and then as you can see, it now highlights the chain of walls. Okay, and if that is line, it will highlight the chain of lines. Okay, so let me repeat. So hover your pointer to one of the wall there, and then press tab once. Do not hold it, just press tab once. So once you see it highlights, just click. Okay, click now to place the wall foundation. Just click. And there you go. So as you can see, it says that none of the created elements are visible in our structural plan. Okay, so that's okay. So I can't see it here on my structural plan. So what I'm going to do is I'll try to go to the 3D view, which is this one, and then let's have a look on our wall foundation. And there you go. Okay, so there's now our wall foundation here. Okay, so if I hold shift and then hold the middle button of the mouse to orbit, so you will now be able to see the wall foundation that you just created. Okay, so we now have something that our wall bears, which is our wall foundation. Actually, if I go to the level 1 here, okay, so we can play around with our view range. Okay, so to do that, let's go to our properties. Do not select any elements, so to make sure, just select modify, and then from the properties, move the slider down, and then there's an option here, view range. So you just select your edit, and then for the view depth, so instead of minus 6 feet, so how about I'm going to make this minus 12 feet. Okay, so I'm going to move the view depth to 12 feet, and then I select here OK, and then let's see what will happen now. So OK, there you go. So as you can see, it now shows our wall foundation. So I can type SD for shaded view, or I can also select from the visual style here the shaded. Okay, And there you go. Okay, so there's our wall foundation. Okay, so basically that's how you create your wall foundation. So for our next topic, I'm going to teach you how to add piers and pilasters. All right, so thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day. Google, we're going to show you what is piers and pilaster. Okay, so a pier is an upright rectangular support for a structure or superstructure such as a bridge, an arch, or bridge, while a pilaster is a slightly projecting rectangular column built into or applied to the face of a wall. Okay, so that is what we're going to do. So we're going to add these structural elements. Okay, so the objective of this video is we're going to use an existing concrete column, and then after that we're going to modify that to become a pier. Okay, so I have already shown you how to do that last time, how to duplicate and create a new type, but let us try to review it again. So I'm going to open out the exercise. Okay, so this is the last exercise that we did wherein we add here a wall footing, right? Remember this one? So that's a wall footing. So we created the wall foundation and a wall footing. So this time around, let us add some piers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my floor plan view. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor plan view. Let's say I'm going to open the top of footing view level. So let's open up that one, double click. And then after that, let's go to the structure, select the structure, and then let's go to the column. Okay, so we're going to use structural column. Actually, structural column can also be found on the architecture tab. Column drop down, and then you will also see there the structural column. Okay, but let me just go to structure and then select here the structural column. The shortcut is CL. Okay, so let's select that one, and then for this, let's say I'm going to use here a concrete rectangular column. Now I'll just use here, how about 18 by 24? I'm going to use this and then duplicate it and then create a new type of concrete rectangular column. So I'm going to select this one, and then we're going to edit type. Okay, so let's select edit type, and then we are going to duplicate it. So duplicate, and then we're going to call this, let's say 2 feet, or let's say 2 feet 6 inches. Okay, so 2 feet 6 inches. Okay, and then I just select here OK. Right, so select. So after you create that type, so the next thing that we're going to do is modify here the dimension. Okay, so for the B, so I'll just put there 2 space 6. Okay, so even if you do not put here the unit, Revit will read it as 2 feet 6 inches. So you can type 2 space 6. So same with your BH. So once I click the H here, the 2 6 here will be having a unit type. Take a look. See, it automatically put there 2 feet 6 inches. So 2 space 6. All right, then after that, just select OK. There you go. Right, now for this one, let's look here at the options bar. So currently the settings here is depth. Okay, so we're going to change this one. So instead of depth, I want to start using height up to level 1. Okay, so meaning to say the structural column that I will be adding will we're going to start on level 1. Okay, it will start on top of footing up to level 1. Right, so let us do this. So what I'm going to do at the moment, I can't see here my column, but once I click, let's say the intersection here, I click that one. There you go. You will now be able to see how our structural column or our pier added to our corner here. So if I click this one and then select the selection box to create an isolated 3D view of that one, this is now how it looks like. There it goes. There you go. Okay. Of course, you can always edit that one if you want. Once you click that, you can edit the base offset, the top level. Let's say you want that until level 2, you just need to change this to level 2. You can also add an offset distance. Okay, so going back to my top of footing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this column, right click, and then create similar. Right click and then create similar. So let's select this one, and then instead of picking it one by one, what I'm going to do is from the multiple panel here, there's an option add grids. Okay, so I'm going to select add grids. There you go, and then let's use a crossing selection. When I say crossing selection, it will going to be from right to left. That will going to be the selection. So I'm going to pick, then going here to the left. So right to left. So that's a crossing selection. There you go. Okay, but of course you're not going to put. There are some columns here that we do not need. Okay, it's okay. So let's select finish first, terminate it, or to finish our column creation. So select finish, and there you have it. And then select modify here to terminate the tool. So we don't need this. So I'm going to use window selection. When you select, when you say window selection, that will going to be left to right. Okay, and then just delete it. Press delete. So we don't need that. Okay, we don't need this. What else? Okay, so we don't need this. Don't need that. Don't need this one. Okay, now let's go to the level 1. Level 1. Okay. Alright, so did you see this 4 columns that we have here? So it's not on the right location. We want to put it somewhere here. So I'm going to select this 2 column here. You click one and then hold control. And then let's move it. So select the move. Okay, and then you can turn on the constraint so that the movement will be constrained horizontal or vertical only. So I'm going to select constraint. So I'm going to pick the base point here. There you go. Now I'll just type here the distance 4. for 4 feet. Okay, so enter, 4, enter. There you go. Now same with these two here. Click, hold control, click, and then move, pick a base point, and then move to the right, then you type 4, enter. There you go. Okay, so in 3D view, select the 3D view, and then turn off the section box. Just turn it off so that it will show you the whole 3D view. Alright, there you go. So you just created now your column here, or your piers, or pilaster, okay? So if you want to see only the pier or the pilaster, so you can click one, and then you can select temporary hide isolate, and then you can select isolate category. Just click that, and there you go. Oh, so this is not what I want, okay? Because I forgot they are just all on the same category. So if I click this one, the category is structural column, but this one is also structural column. How about this one? Oh, this is our link model. Okay, so that's why it's just there. So this is our link. But as you can see, the other elements that is under structural column category is also isolated, just like this one. This is the one that we created earlier. Okay, so the reason why we are not able to hide this, the roof here, the curtain wall or curtain panel, is because it's a link. So if I want to hide the link model, I just need to go to the visibility graphic overrides. All right, and then let's go to the Revit links. You can just uncheck the visibility of the architectural model, and then just select OK. There you go. Okay. So if you only want to see this element that we just created, our pilaster or piers, so I'm going to select one of this structural column, right click, and then I can hide in the view. So I'm going to select hide by category. Oh, sorry, it's not like that, sorry. It should be crossing selection like this. Okay, select, and then right click, hide elements. There you go, okay? Alright, now if you want to go back to your normal view, just click again the temporary hide isolate, reset, and then after that, you turn on the reveal hidden elements. Why? Because we want to reveal again our structural column, so you turn this on, click that, and then what will happen is it will show you all the elements that you have hidden in the view. Okay, and then I'm going to select my one of the structural column here. Okay, I'm having a difficulty selecting it. Okay, I'm going to change that to wireframe, so I can select from here. There you go. So there's our hidden element. Click. Alright, and then right click. I can select select all instances visible in view. Okay, and then let's unhide it. There you go. And then toggle reveal hidden elements mode. Okay, select that one. There you go. Okay, now for our link model, just go again to the visibility graphic overrides links. Check. Okay. There you go. So that's now our model. Okay. So basically that's how you add piers and pilasters or structural columns in your project. So the next topic that we are going to talk about is we're going to add isolated footings. Okay. So for now, thank you for watching. Have a nice day.